It's the morning of January the 22nd, 1879. In Isandlwana, it's hot and muggy. Lord Chelmsford has taken 3,000 men to find and destroy the Zulu army, which he believes is close by. They top a rise, and what they discover makes their blood run cold.
So I don't know about you, but I'm already starting to sense a little bit of trouble in paradise here, John. Looking at the way things are going, we've got Durnford, he's left, and he's essentially left the camp a little weaker than what he should have or what would be responsible. And the British have really spread themselves quite thin over this entire area, which I think might be their strategy and might seem good to them, but I do feel like they weren't aware that they were playing straight into the Zulu hands.
Durnford's men on the plateau topped a rise, faced a wave of
20,000, possibly even more, Zulu warriors. An interesting fact is the Zulus taught their sons and trained their sons from as young as age 6. So you can imagine how disciplined and proficient they were by the time they got to fighting age.
Unbelievable. As soon as they were discovered, the Zulu commanders moved into their famous fighting formation.
Ah yes, Impondo Zankomo, meaning the horns of the bull.
This fighting bull formation comes from the genius of King Shaka. The warriors, as you say, form three main elements. The chest would charge down the enemy to draw them in. The left and right horn warriors would use their speed to encircle the enemy's position. The right horn moved along the valley between the plateau and the heights, driving back the troops they encountered. To his horror, Durnford realizes at this moment that this is actually the main Zulu force. They'd outflanked and outsmarted Chelmsford and were heading to attack the British at their weakest point, the camp. Durnford orders his men into a fighting retreat.
So now we realize the Zulus have actually caught them by surprise. And if you consider they've been forced into this conflict, they weren't in the most forgiving mood, so to speak.
I'm sure. They were armed with the assegai, short thrusting spears.
And the knopkiri, a deadly wooden club, which when used against the temple could do a lot of damage.
At first it seemed to Durnford that he was winning. His men found good cover in a donga, slowing the rapid advance of the Zulus, but not before they'd overrun the rocket artillery, which only got off one or two good shots. British forces pulled back into a defensive line facing the chest and the right horn. But at this point, the British puts its superior weaponry to good use. They rained lead down onto the Zulu forces, slowing them down. Their guns are an advantage, but then their rate of fire begins to slow.
So meanwhile, the Zulus realized that they could lie flat and gain ground. They'd lie between the volleys and then boom, they'd advance during British reload.
This is the infamous Martini-Henry rifle, which the British were using. But amazingly, only 70 rounds were issued to each soldier, a gross underestimation from the British.
Sure, it's quite heavy. But still, 70 rounds, I don't think that would do much against a force of 20,000 or more. And this is what also is quite interesting, is they had runners who would go and fetch ammunition, but the wagons were miles away from the firing line.
An even more devastating factor was the rifles themselves. They could fire 12 rounds a minute, which is why they could keep such a large force at bay. But after continuous firing, they started to overheat.
Now you have gunpowder residue built up in the barrels, which led to intense recoil. And so the guns now were hot, so hot in fact that you had to use a rag to hold them out at arm's length like this. I mean, my arms are getting tired. What a battle.
How can you fight like that? Palaine has no choice but to order the firing line in closer to the wagon line. Like that. But then another big mistake. He pulls only half the forces back, and this drops the rate of fire even more.
Fearing the wrath of the incoming Zulu warriors, the Natal contingent flees. And I'm pretty sure I'd do the exact same thing. The result of this, though, was holes in the line that weren't able to be closed.
Just before 2 p.m., the British line collapses totally. Next up, the British face wave after wave of Zulu assault. Don't miss Battlefield South Africa, only on the History Channel.